Have you ever been around people? Talking, laughing, everything feels normal, and yet you feel completely alone? Like you're present but not really there. If you felt that, this isn't random, because loneliness isn't always about being alone. Sometimes it's about not being seen, not being felt, not being truly understood. One reason this happens is because you're not fully being yourself. You filter what you say. You adjust how you act. You become a version of yourself that fits better but feels less real. And slowly, people connect with that version, not with you. So even when you're surrounded, you feel unseen. Another reason, you crave depth. You don't just want conversation, you want connection. Something real, something honest. But most interactions stay on the surface. Small talk, casual check-ins, nothing that truly reaches you. And that gap feels like loneliness. Sometimes it's because you've changed, you've grown, quietly. What matters to you now is different, but the people around you still meet the old version of you. So even in familiar spaces, you feel out of place. Not wrong, not better, just different. And sometimes you're just tired. Tired of explaining yourself. Tired of being the one who understands everyone but doesn't feel understood. So you stop opening up. You stay quiet even when you're surrounded. And that silence feels like distance. But maybe the deepest reason is this. You've been disconnected from yourself. Because when you don't fully understand what you feel or what you need, it becomes harder to feel truly connected to anyone else. So if you feel lonely, even around people, don't rush to fix it. Don't call yourself too much or too distant. Maybe you're just someone who feels deeply, who wants something real. And yes, that can feel lonely sometimes. But it also means when you do find connection, it will feel different. It will feel like home. Until then, be a little gentler with yourself. You're not broken, you're just becoming. And then, one day, something feels different. Not louder, not dramatic, just easier. You're sitting with someone, and for the first time in a long time, you don't feel the need to perform. You're not overthinking your words. You're not adjusting your reactions. You're just there. And somehow, that feels new. Because when you finally find real connection, the first thing that changes is this. You feel safe. Not just physically, but emotionally. Safe to say the wrong thing. Safe to pause. Safe to be quiet. And in that safety, you slowly stop filtering yourself. You start noticing how much energy you used to spend trying to be understood. And now, you don't have to try as hard, because they listen differently. They don't just hear your words, they feel what you mean. And for the first time, you feel seen. Another thing that changes is the silence. Before, silence felt awkward, like something needed to be filled, fixed, avoided. But now, silence feels calm, comfortable, like you don't have to prove anything to keep the connection alive. And slowly, you start meeting yourself again. The version of you that you had hidden, the thoughts you held back, the emotions you softened, they begin to come through. Not all at once, but gently. And you realize you were never too much. You were just in the wrong spaces. When you find the right connection, you don't feel the need to shrink. You don't feel like you have to explain every part of yourself. You don't feel alone, even in your quiet moments, because something inside you settles. And maybe the most beautiful part is this: you start feeling like yourself again. Not the version that was trying to fit in, but the one that feels natural, unfiltered, real. And it doesn't feel forced. It feels like coming back home to who you always were. So if you haven't found that yet, don't settle. Don't convince yourself that surface-level connection is enough. Because the kind of connection you're looking for, it exists. And when you find it, you won't have to question it. You'll feel it. In your body, in your mind, in the way you finally relax. And maybe that's what you were missing all along. Not people, but the right kind of presence. And maybe this is where everything gently shifts. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because something inside you feels quieter. You're no longer chasing connection the way you used to. You're no longer trying so hard to be understood or trying to make people stay. Because somewhere along the way, you started understanding yourself. And that changes everything. The emptiness you once felt, it doesn't disappear overnight, but it softens. It stops feeling like a void and starts feeling like space. Space to breathe. Space to exist without pressure. You begin to realize you were never actually alone. You were just disconnected from yourself. And now, even when you're by yourself, it doesn't feel heavy anymore. It feels peaceful. You stop questioning your worth based on how others respond to you. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You stop over-explaining who you are. And instead, you just allow yourself to be. And the most surprising part is, connection becomes easier. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're no longer forcing it. You're not chasing people. You're not holding on too tightly. You're simply showing up as you are. And the right people, they meet you there. And even when they don't, it doesn't break you the way it used to. Because you've built something stronger within yourself. A sense of home that doesn't depend on anyone else staying. So if you're still in that phase, where loneliness feels heavy, where connection feels distant, just know this: you're not behind. You're not broken. You're just in the middle of returning to yourself. And when you do, everything won't suddenly be perfect, but it will feel lighter, softer, more real. And maybe that's what you were searching for all along. Not just connection with others, but connection with yourself.